Hey guys, YouTube 100 here. Alright, now here I am with another review of a Marvel stinker. And now, here I am with a review for Fantastic Four. So, of course, when it comes to, Marvel stinker films, I think, Fantastic Four is a franchise that'll always come to people's minds. So, yeah, Nostalgia could have really put it best in his review for this movie. What is it about the Fantastic Four that really just can't catch a break with their films? Because, yeah, as of right now, there have been four fantastic films made, and they've all been pretty bad films. Yeah, so I really don't know what it is about the Fantastic Four that has just always made them really not be so good when it comes to their films. I don't know if it's just the studios just hate Fantastic Four, and so they're just doing this on purpose, or what it is that's going on. But seriously, why can't the Fantastic Four just ever catch a break when it comes to their films? Yeah. So yeah, this film was actually the second adaptation of a Fantastic Four film. The first one was back in 1994 with that Corman Fantastic Four film that was never actually released. Yeah, I'm not really too sure why that film never got released, but regardless, yeah, it never actually did was publicly released. So I've never actually seen that version, but yeah, I've heard there are some it is up available on YouTube and Daily Motion and stuff. So yeah, I guess that is how some people have seen the film, but yeah, I never have. So yeah, but I have heard it was a pretty silly film. Yeah, but regardless, yeah, this was the second film adaptation of Fantastic Four, and yeah, it really is not very good. Yeah, I remember back when this film was first announced, I did want to see it because yeah, as a kid, I did love the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four really were at the time they were my favorite Marvel group. I did like them more than X-Men. Yeah, especially the Thing in particular was the one that I really did love. A lot of people really did love the Thing. Pretty much everyone really did love the Thing. The Thing was pretty much everyone's favorite Fantastic Four character. Yeah, and the Thing was actually the character that really did inspire Stan Lee to make the Hulk. So yeah, a lot of people really did hold the Thing in a high regard. Yeah, so yeah, and yeah, he was my favorite of the group as well. I really did have a thing for the really big, strong, on characters like that, like Thing and Hulk and stuff as a kid. Yeah, I did love the characters like that. So yeah, due to my love for the Fantastic Four, I was excited to see this film. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I was about 11 years old when this film came out. So yeah, so I'd be lying if I said back when I saw this film, I didn't really like it. I did kind of enjoy watching the film. I mean, it's kind of similar to what I was talking about in my review for Hulk. Yeah, I can just it was because just the visuals of finally seeing them on in film, it really just really did was great to see that. So yeah, this film, growing up now as an adult, I can kind of see that this film really is not that good. I mean, just yeah, I don't know what it is that they were going with this film, but yeah, even as an origin story, it just really is just comes off really boring. Just there's hardly anything with them actually in action in this film. Just we don't actually see them actually in action as the actual Fantastic Four team until the last 15-20 minutes of the movie. So yeah, so it's basically for a straight hour and a half, we really don't really see them in action at all. Really, just they spend most of this film just studying their powers and trying to find a way to change them back to normal. So yeah, so it really just comes across as pretty much a really huge bore, pretty much. Yeah, but yeah, I guess I really shouldn't be that hard on this film. I really shouldn't absolutely totally bash it because Yeah, because well, now with like the newest Fantastic Four film like that, like the reboot of this film, when that came out like in 2015, with how horrible that film did, I guess like we can kind of see like now we can kind of appreciate this film and its sequel more, or for like how much worse they could have turned out. So yeah, so I guess like now we can really just call this film the quote unquote good Fantastic Four film. So yeah, I guess we can give this film that now, just like appreciate it much more. So yeah, but still overall, it's still not a very good film. I mean, it really can get like really boring, just like watching them just really analyzing their powers and just the lack of them really in action. Like I said, they really don't come in. We don't see them in action until like the last 15, 20 minutes or so of the film. So yeah, and yeah, one of the things about this film that just really rubbed me the wrong way was the misusage of Doctor Doom in this film. Like, of course, Doctor Doom is like Fantastic Four's villain, and really just the way he is portrayed in this film, it's like one of the biggest misuses of all time for a villain. Like seriously, Doctor Doom was like one of Marvel. He's like one of Marvel's most powerful villains of all time, and so yeah, and just with the way he's like used in this film, he just comes across as like yeah, he's not an accurate representation of the original Doctor Doom character at all. He's just like seems like so easy for them to defeat in this film, and yeah, that's just one of the things about this film that really does rub me the wrong way. Just how badly they use Doctor Doom in this film. Like seriously, he it would take a lot to defeat him. Like, can you imagine like if Doctor Doom and Thanos would team up? Just can you imagine how that would turn out? How powerful they would be together? Yeah, just yeah, the way he's using this film, just it just absolutely, he just it's one of the things that really gets under my skin, especially now knowing like how powerful he is. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but, yeah. This film has a cast of Ian Griffith, Chris Evans, Jessica Alba, Michael Chiklis of the Fantastic Four, as well as Julian McMahon as Victor Von Doom, whom as whom, and yeah, it does have like some yeah, so yeah, it has like a cast like that. Yeah, and yeah, it's kind of interesting to see Chris Evans actually be in like a Marvel-based film before he was actually Captain America. I guess it's similar to like some other films I've already talked about, where like it had you had like John Favreau in Daredevil, where now he's like happy in the MCU, and you did also have like a Rebecca Romijn in The Punisher during the time when she was playing Mystique in the X Men films. So yeah, and then here you have Chris Evans as the Human Torch in this film. When and now, well, I guess not really anymore, but yeah, in like the MCU, he was Captain America. So yeah, yeah, so I think it's kind of interesting, like how much like I'm going through like these stinker films, and I'm noticing like they like feature actors that are like in like other like Marvel based films. So yeah, I think it's kind of interesting that how how many of them I'm noticing in these films. But yeah, this film overall, it just yeah, it's really not very good. It is pretty boring. It's not written very well. Just yeah, even if they were going for an origin story, they could have done this like a lot better. Like they didn't really need to spend this like pretty much this entire film just studying their powers and trying to find a way to get back to normal. I mean, they could have actually like accepted their powers and actually gone to action, and we could have gotten like a lot more or stuff with them in action in this and it would have actually been cool to see. Yeah, and yeah, there are like some other flaws with this film. Like some people have complained about the look of the Thing in this film, how he really doesn't really look like a totally actual creature made from rock and stone. Like he just looks like more clay in this film. And yeah, he does kind of like look kind of yeah, not really believable as like actually made out of stone. But I mean, yeah, it could have been much worse. Like he could have like just been like a normal size, so like similar to like how he looked in the Corman film, and not really look very good at all. Or it could have been like all CG. So yeah, they didn't actually do that. So they could have actually done it like worse than what they had. Yeah, and one of the things from this film that I really hate, one of those moments is like the scene where like after like the first scene with them actually in action when they like save people from that bridge that really like they even caused to begin with. Yeah, after like Ben is like looked at as a hero by the people, and his fiance just ends up leaving him. Like, are you serious? Like, your fiance just like is looked at as a hero by everyone, and just because of like how he looks, you're gonna leave him in front of everyone like that? I mean, that really makes you look good, dumb bitch. Yeah, so that's one moment from this movie that, in particular, that I just really cannot stand. And yeah, like I said, I really do not like the misusage of Doctor Doom in this film. And yeah, this film really does have like some flaws like that, just like how just slow it is, and yeah, just the lack of them in action. So yeah, so this film has definitely like like the the hate that it's gotten, though. Yeah, like I already said, due to the new film, I think we can appreciate this film much more now, seeing like how much worse it could have been. So yeah, so overall, I think I would give this film like around 2 stars out of 4. I mean, yeah, I guess like it could have been like worse, as I said, but yeah, still like for a Fantastic Four film, I mean, yeah, this really was like a pretty big misstep. So yeah, not a very good film. Yeah, and I think this is like the also like a film that when it comes to like Marvel comic films, that especially like the ones that are coming out during this time, like the one like this one was like one that really like people it did really seem to like be like pretty popular with people. Like there were like the other films coming out during this time, like The Punisher and like other films like that were really coming out during this time, like during like the time like when like the original Spider-Man trilogy was out, and then this was also like during the time when like the original X-Men trilogy was out. Yeah, people were really looking at like a lot comic book films, especially the ones based on Marvel properties, as being really awesome and stuff. And then yeah, this one was the one that really seemed to like people really did seem to know about. And yeah, these just seem to be the ones that really did not turn out very good at all. So yeah, okay, but I think I've gone on enough about like just like all the negatives about this film. I think like you guys really do get the picture, and I think a lot of you probably have already seen this film. So yeah, you already know like how this film did turn out. So yeah, I think I've gone on enough about that. So yeah, let me just get right into the premise of this film. All right. So as the film opens up, it shows that physicist Reed Richards and his friend, an astronaut named Ben Grimm, they're like speaking with a former classmate of Reed, Victor Von Doom, who is now the CEO of his own business, Von Doom Industries. He's and that they want to actually like go into space. He's to test effects of like a sample of exposure to a cloud because he feels that evolution was actually triggered on Earth by like some cosmic energy that calculated, and he's like calculated the clouds is like going to pass Earth soon, so he wants to go up into space to collect a sample of the exposure. So then, yeah, Victor agreed to allow Reed and Ben to go into space is if they actually like hand over control over the experiment and a majority of their profits from what they may bring. So then, yeah, and they were also joined by Reed's ex-girlfriend, Sue Storm, who is now like a chief genetics researcher for Doom, and also her brother Johnny. Honey, yeah, and so yeah, and yeah, in this film, like it showed that like Reed, Ben, and Susan or Sue are like more like they're actually like sticking to like the business side of things, while Johnny is like the more like cool and smooth guy. Like he's like the cocky, cool guy that just wants to really just expose himself and just show off to everyone. Yeah. So I guess he's like the outcast of the group. Yeah. And then on their journey into space, he's like a Ben then like went out on the spacewalk to just place the samples was down, but due to a miscalculation, of the cosmic energy clouds. Oh, it's like the clouds are actually like materializing ahead of the schedule. Well, and then like Reed, Reed, Johnny and Sue were all like trying to save Ben to get him back in before the cosmic rays hit, but Ben like received full exposure of the cosmic energy, and it also like blew into like the station as well, and so then like everybody else, Reed, Johnny, Sue, and Victor all then like received like a limited dose of the energy in the station. Yeah, and then a few days pass, and they arrive back home on Earth, and at first like they seem to like just survive just fine with just some very small effects, like Reed receiving a little bit of black hair or gray hair and stuff like that. But then, over time, they then discovered that what the cosmic radiation gave them like their own their own powers now. It showed that of course Reed was able to stretch out his body like rubber. Her Johnny was able to actually like engulf himself in fire and fly. Right? Susan was able to become invisible. Well, and then Ben turned into a rock-like creature with superhuman strength and durability. So yeah, though yeah, something that has always kind of like puzzled me about it is just like this was actually the way that they actually did receive their powers in the comics. So something that I'm just wondering is like, why is it that they all receive like different types of powers? Like it makes sense why Ben like got like hit like his powers because he actually took like a bigger blow of the hit from the cosmic radiation. But Sue, Johnny, and Reed all like didn't they pretty much receive the same amount of it when they were hit? So why are their powers all different? I mean, that's like kind of puzzled me. Like, am I missing something? Like, does the comic explain this better? Like, I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, going back to it. Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, Ben like tried to go back home to try to talk to his fiance Debbie about it, to just try to show her what's happened to him. But once Debbie like saw Ben, she just like got scared of him and just couldn't like actually handle it. So she just ran off from him. Yeah. And then the next morning, it just shows that Ben was brooding on the Brooklyn Bridge, and then it showed that there was a guy standing right beside him that was about to commit suicide. But then when he saw Ben, it just scared him, and he just fell right back onto the bridge, and then it just caused was like a traffic pile up, and then yeah, it just showed like a bunch of people's lives were put in jeopardy, including like there was a fire truck that was about to fall off the bridge, and then uh, Reed, Johnny, and Sue all and met up with Ben, and they all worked together to just save everybody that was in peril. Yeah. And then after Ben had like stopped the fire truck from falling off the bridge, like he was surrounded by police. But then after like the entire like all the bystanders then like saw what he did, they were all just applauding and looking at him as a hero, and the fire department stopped the police from arresting him. And then yeah, like I said, then Debbie then just came, and then and yeah, she Ben just looked at her, and then yeah, she then just took off the engagement ring and placed it on the ground and left Ben. Bitch. Yeah. And then yeah, then and yeah, they were then dubbed Fantastic Four by the media. And then yeah, they then were just like moving into Reed's lab in the Baxter building to just analyze their powers, and they were also trying to look for a way to actually turn Ben back to normal. And then, meanwhile, it showed that Victor was like also facing some backlash from his stockholders due to the publicity from the space mission, and it showed that um, the cosmic radiation like caused a scar on his face that was from like an exploding control console well, in the station, and then then like I mean, over time, then it showed that Victor had a mutation himself. And it showed that like he also had like superhuman strength of his own, and he was able to also produce bolts of energy, and he and like his hands started to become like an organic type of metal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he like was offered some support or to like Sue and Reed and everyone else, but he also blamed Reed for the failure of the space flight, and it also like because due to it, it caused him it lost his company's hope for or an IPO. Yeah, and then as they were all then just like analyzing their powers, it just showed that um Johnny like got up to like a temperature of supernova, which is like the temperature of the sun, and also it showed that Ben's internal organs were like really hardening. Yeah, yeah, and then over time, like as they were like analyzing their powers and studying them, Reed then just told all of them that he will be able to actually construct a machine that would be able to like recreate the storm and reverse the effects. But he also like warned them that could not work, and it could actually do the opposite of what they want, and it would like accelerate their powers instead. But yeah, and then after like a Doom like was like learning of his mutation, then he was like plotting revenge. Yeah, and then yeah, then yeah, Johnny was like just bored with all the analyzing, and then he just like went out to party, and he like took part in like a motorcycle show of some kind, and then he was just like showing off his powers, and then yeah, he was then just like telling the media, yeah, their names in the Fantastic Four. He was the Human Torch, Sue was the Invisible Woman, and Reed was Mr. Fantastic, and Ben was called the Thing, and then and eventually Reed, Sue, and Ben all then went to confront Johnny. And it showed that Ben like just took Johnny's car and then just made it like crumbled it up into a ball and stuff, and then he like threw the license plate at Johnny's head, which yeah, that would have like actually like lacerated his head open. Yeah, and then yeah, it caused like some tension between the four of them, particularly between Ben and Johnny. You know, yeah, and then and over time, then after Ben then just went out on his own. Oh, and he then eventually like met a blind woman, Alicia Masters, and showed that she like developed feelings for Ben. And yeah, and then also eventually Doom found Ben, and then was just like pretty much like just manipulating him, and that he could help him better than Reed could. And then yeah, it ended up like causing a wedge between Reed and Ben. And then like in Reed's lab, yeah, Ben was then just like blaming Reed for spending more time with Sue, and yeah, over time like they were rekindling their relationship with each other. And yeah, Ben just blamed Reed that he's like spending more time with Susan than he is like working on the machine to get them back to normal. And then a fight broke out between Reed and Ben, which then like Reed then just like tied up Ben and to get him to calm down, and then eventually once like Ben calmed down, then he just left Reed and Sue. And then yeah, I gotta talk about one bit real quick. As Ben was leaving, then Johnny came out with like a thin figure with the saying "It's clobbering time," and yeah, I gotta say the figure that Johnny like showed the Ben there, I've actually got the same figure. Like I've got this right here. Yeah, this is actually something that I actually did like. I got it before the movie actually did come out, and then when I went to see this movie, when I saw that he like actually used this figure, I actually did think it was kind of cool that I actually had the same one. So yeah, I thought always like found that interesting about the movie that I've got the same one that was used in that bit right there. Yeah, right. But anyway, and then eventually, um, uh, then Ben went to go see a Victor, and then yeah, Victor then like was making the same machine that Reed was, and then he convinced Ben to go in, and that he could get Ben back to normal, which it did. But then, yeah, when Ben like he restored Ben to his human form, it also like ended up accelerating Victor's his mutation, and then it caused a lot of his body to turn metal, and so then and it like made him a lot more powerful, and so then he knocked Ben unconscious, and then went and he attacked Reed and captured him, and then he then labeled himself Doctor Doom, and then he like to hide like his disfigurement, he then put on a metallic mask and a cloak. Oh, so then and then once Johnny and Sue then saw what happened to Ben, and when he told them like what happened to Reed, and then and it showed that Doctor Doom was then just a torture Reed by like just strapping him down to a chair and just starting to freeze him, and then he fired a heat-seeking missile at the Baxter building, and then Johnny like lured it away by actually like flying. Yeah, he then just like fell down and shouted "Flame on!" and then yeah, that then like engulfed his entire body into flame, and then yeah, he was able to fly with it, and so then yeah, he just lured the missile away, and the missile gave chase to Johnny. Yeah, and then yeah, Sue then went after Doom to try to save Reed, but then yeah, when Doctor Doom overpowered Sue, then Ben and like transformed himself back into the Thing, and then and assisted Sue to fight off Doctor Doom. And yeah, and then it like spilled out into the streets where we finally saw the Fantastic Four all in action. They were fighting off Doctor Doom. And yeah, I showed that um that Johnny and Sue were working together to uh, wrap Doctor Doom into like inferno of intense heat that was shielding him inside of it. And then yeah, Ben and Reed worked together to douse him in cold water to induce some thermal shock on him, and then it then eventually then froze Doctor Doom in place, just pretty much making him into just a solid steel statue. Yeah, and then the whole everybody around then like were then embracing them and just applauding them, labeling them as heroes, and then yeah, Ben then just told Reed that he accepts the condition, and they gotta, and then yeah, they would be together as a team. And then, as they were celebrating on a boat, then Reed then proposed the marriage to Sue, and then she accepted. And then, yeah, then the film just ended with a Johnny flying up into the sky, and then he just created the Fantastic Four symbol with the four inside the circle. It's all on fire. And then, yeah, then, yeah, then, yeah, then as he like flew towards the camera, then it just said the end. But then, yeah, there was a small little scene after that where it then showed like the Doctor Doom statue like remained were then being transported to his homeland of Latveria. Yeah, and then it showed that there was like a brief moment where like the Dark Master's like manifest was like undergoing some electromagnetic interference, and so yeah, so I guess that was like hinting that he had still survived and he was still living. But yeah, and then that's how the film ended. So yeah, like I said, just a very lack of like the Fantastic Four actually in action, and yeah, a really misusage of Doctor Doom in this film, and just yeah, there are a lot of things that are wrong with this film. Just yeah, the lack of them in action. I mean, the misusage of Doctor Doom, whom just yeah, the bad writing, that Ben's a bitchy fiance that just left him in a very terrible way. Yeah, just yeah, and plus, yeah, the effects really don't age very well either. I mean, especially when you're looking at like when Mr. Fantastic is like stretched out, like the effects are really cheap, and those don't hold up at all. I mean, it really just does look like a cartoon, really. So yeah, so cheap effects also. So yeah, like I said, not a very good film, and yeah, definitely like this just shows why just it is just an example of like how bad the Fantastic Four have been treated in film. But yeah, as I have already said, like just with that remake, it just shows like how much worse it could have been. So I guess it's not like as bad as it could have been. So yeah, I guess I can give it that. So yeah, like I said, 2 stars out of 4. So yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's all I can really say about it. It's just yeah, so a lot of you have seen the film, so you probably already like know like how it's not very good. So yeah, so I guess that's all I can really say about it. So I guess that's all for my review of Fantastic Four. So yeah, it didn't do so well, but I guess like it did make quite a bit of money. So I guess like it did well enough to do a sequel to it. So yeah, so they did do a sequel 2 years later, which I will talk about next time. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, this does it for my review of Fantastic Four. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.